So, everyone, this is going to be one of the recorded sessions. So, because you are not available at the moment, we are doing these recorded classes, which are some classes that you can take whenever you want, whenever you are ready or available, or even you want to. If you want to revise something, if you want to revise the contents of these chapters, we can always be going through these classes. They are 45-minute classes. Since you did not respond within 15 minutes, we're starting these classes in the remaining 45 minutes. So that's how we're going to deal with this whole situation. I know that this is unusual, but we can take so much more content into these recorded classes that you can stop at any moment. You can rewind if you didn't understand, and you can always use subtitles in here. Subtitles can be used by clicking the little annotation here on the corner, right around here. So if you want to see the annotations, if you want to see how we can use those subtitles, you can always ask us in the administration or even the teachers like myself. Okay, so today we're going to be seeing the unit about motivation. We started this unit on the last class, and this is a unit about how to motivate yourself at working. For most people, there's a motivation about money. Of course, we live in a world in which money makes us go and work and do whatever we want. But sometimes there's other possibilities, other things that makes us work better. Okay, so for example, the interesting parts of your work, your availability to help people, and your gifts for achieving new goals, promotions, training, becoming a better person and a better worker. Flexible hours can also be a motivation, and of course, money and job security. Job security is the thing in which you know that you never lose your job. Just like here in Brazil, job security is normally associated with public service, and we normally have those things to worry about. How secure is your job? How are you going to be replaced within the next years or months or days or anything like that? We are always talking about job security, so we need to know about that when we are doing our job. And what else would you add to the list? What else about motivation? What about your job that motivates you to work, right? We have read this part about internships, about how some things about internships, they can be a little tricky, a little in the gray area. They can be some people talk about how internships should be paid. In Brazil, some are paid, some are not. We have other um, we have other instances of jobs that can be done through those areas, and we have the career ladder in which you can essentially get a better position or a starter position at a job doing an internship. That's more of a way to see for the employer to see if you are really up to the job, that you are a good and reliable worker. Okay, so in Brazil, I think 50-50 internships. I have experience with more with paid internships more than unpaid internships, but in some cases, it like it really depends. So, but in abroad they have different ways to deal with internships, and In this exercise we are talking about enthusiasm and self-motivation. We are talking about reward and incentive, achievements, performances, benefits, appreciation, praise, and recognition. So about enthusiasm and self-motivation, they are really close. The meaning, most of these words, they are really close, but they have a different way to be used in the vocabulary. For example, enthusiasm, is it something that a personal interest in doing something better or working harder? And B, a strong feeling of excitement or interest in something. So a personal interest in doing something better or working harder, it's normally a way to just to motivate yourself, to motivate your own self. So that falls into self motivation. Enthusiasm, on the other hand, is normally a strong feeling of excitement, which can be an interest in something, not even work related. It can even be like a hobby or something else. So that comes as enthusiasm. So I would put enthusiasm in B and self motivation in A. For the same reasons, we have reward and incentive. Reward is nothing normally something that you gain for doing your job. An incentive is something that you normally gain, that you normally are offered to do your job. So anything you receive for doing your job well can be a reward, but an incentive is normally something that is offered beforehand that makes you want to go harder. So, for example, if you just did your job and you got rewarded as the best employee of the month and got money for that, that would be a reward. But if your employer comes and says that you have an incentive program that you can make better, your job better, you can improve sales by 10%, and then you have received some money, that's an incentive that was offered before you did the job. And a reward, it's something that is done for you when you do your job really well. Same goes for achievement and performance. They are not so close. Achievement is something that normally you are accustomed to like reach a goal, and performance is something that is universal. Something can be a really high performance or low performance. So performance is really how well do you do your job. So for example, when you take two cars, one car that is low on maintenance can use a lot of fuel and walk like little space. So he uses, for example, 1 liter of alcohol to walk 4 kilometers. That's really low, and so it's a low performance car. But if I take 1 liter of alcohol and I walk 16 kilometers, then it's a high performance automobile. So that can be the difference between achievement and between performances. Performances can be high or low, but achievements, it's like a goal, something that you work for in your job to do. So, for example, you can do, for example, oh, I want to achieve this month at least 10% more than I achieved last month. So I work harder and I can either achieve or not that goal. That's achievements. So that's something that you have a mark to do. And then you have benefits and appreciation. A benefit is normally something that you gain in return when you do something. So it's beneficial for you. An appreciation, normally it's something that other people recognize your job. So it can be used as those two different ways. And praise is some is like when someone says that your job is doing really great. They are praising you. So when I'm saying good job, great, you did a good job and a good work, that's praising someone. That's why when I want to say that person praised the other. And recognition is normally something that is recognition in an area. Normally, I don't. I want to say that recognition, to be recognized for your job, is to know that other people know your job, know how well do you work. So normally people do recognition, and they can even make that as a profession, right? When you are so good at your job that you can tell other people how to do their jobs. That's basically what a coach does. Normally nowadays we have a lot of coaches, some good, some bad, but when you are doing a coach to someone, you are doing them the favor of giving the tips to make a good profession. Some coaches, they are really good about doing what they can, and some, they are just self-taught book experts. It all depends on the morals and ethics of the person who does the job. So let's think about those questions. What incentive does your company offer for your position? And what are some ways that managers can recognize good performance at work? So, what are the ways that managers normally recognize your good performance? Is it like money? Or is it like they tell everyone that you are doing a great job? Or even nothing? Like, do your job goes unrecognized? Maybe. We don't know. And let's see. This is an exercise about three people. They are talking about their jobs and answer these questions 1 through 3. So they have three people talking about their jobs, and they are doing different things, and they have benefits and rewards. And what other factors give them job satisfaction? So what satisfies them to do their jobs? Let's listen then. This is the unit, it's 2.1.
Unit 2, 2.1. 1.
My job involves visiting different hotels to sell various ranges of soap, shampoo, and other toiletries for their guests. My sales territory covers the whole of Germany and Austria. I love my job. I get a lot of fulfillment from meeting new people and from the travel. I can't imagine being stuck in the same place all the time. I also value the autonomy the job gives me. I have to report to my manager once a week, but apart from that, I'm responsible for all day-to-day decisions and organization. Because I'm on the road so much of the time, I'm provided with the essential benefits like a BlackBerry and a laptop and a company car, of course. I get quite a good basic salary, but what is also very important for me is the amount I can earn in commission. I get 15% of everything I sell, and there's no upper limit. And that's a big incentive for me because I'm one of the top-selling salespeople. My company are very generous with rewards too. You know, merchandise, vouchers, social events. I do think these help me to do my job better. It's nice to be acknowledged and recognized for my achievements.
2. Every month we have a sales competition with lots of prizes, and each dealership has to send in figures for the month to head office, to show them how well we're doing. And then, if you've met your targets, you get reward vouchers for things like, I don't know, a hot air balloon trip or a spa treatment or something. And I usually give these to someone on my sales team, whoever deserves them. I think it works well. It motivates them. But the real value of prizes is that it helps to make people feel appreciated. Positive feedback and praise are very important. They do a lot for job satisfaction. Managers like myself don't get monthly prizes. The real incentive for us is that if we make the grade, we get invited on a special trip once a year. It really makes you feel positive about working for the company. You feel valued, like an important member of the team. Last year it was a week in Africa and a chance to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and that's something I'll never forget. The company also thinks that development is important for staff morale, so there are lots of opportunities for training. Not just staff development, but non-professional training like horticulture or painting. That's a popular benefit of the job, but one of the biggest perks is the very generous staff discount we get on all our models. And when you're talking about a new car, you're talking about a lot of money. 3.
There are a lot of popular misconceptions about this job, you know? I mean, people seem to think you get to travel all over the place and see different countries every week, but that's only true on long-haul flights. Most of the time, it's a fast turnaround and back to checking seatbelts and serving drinks. So, on a regular basis, the travel really isn't that exciting. But one of the main benefits is a staff discount. Me, my husband, my kids, even my parents, we get hugely reduced fares when we use the airline. And that's when we can really travel and see the world. The salary's okay, a little below average maybe, but the compensation plan is good. Let's see, it includes a profit-sharing scheme, a non-contributory pension plan. We have private medical insurance, and there are incentives like attendance rewards and on-time bonuses. So all in all, yeah, it's a pretty good deal. One of the good things about the company is that we do get appreciation when we do our jobs well. Senior management actually comes around and thanks us personally when we've met our targets, and that certainly gives me a sense of achievement.
So, in here we are listening to three people explain what they do, what benefits they have, and what other factors give them job satisfaction. So, you see, the benefits, rewards, and incentives, normally they are material things. And the other factors, it's normally non-material things, like fulfillment. And material benefits can be like something like profit sharing scheme, which normally companies do at the end of the year for most people. So we have those ways to see how to motivate ourselves to work, and we can categorize those things into material and non-material benefits. So material benefits can be something like profit sharing schemes. Non-material benefits can be like fulfillment, something that you can't really hold or spend. It's something that you can get from your job. So going one by one, you can go with material benefit company car. It's a material thing, or is it a non-material thing? It is a material thing, but it's just an example. So company car can be a material thing, and autonomy, it's non-material thing. And so we can do this exercise one by one in like 5 minutes. It's a pretty easy exercise, and then we can go through question 8. Work with a partner and discuss these questions, or even like talk with yourself, or like ask us in the group chat and WhatsApp. Which of the material benefits in 7 are standards in a deployment contract in your country? Which are additional benefits? So your country can have like a legislation, like we do, for workers' rights. So which of these are constitutional, and which of these are non-constitutional? So they are things that are additional to a job. So it's not something that you can get for granted. Those are really good questions, because for some of these can be really additional, like non-contributory pension plan, because we have a contributory pension plan that is made by the government, right? So a non-contributory pension plan is something that you can get by your employer, and that can help you to get your pension when you retire. So that's a good thing, right? And a private medical insurance. The legislation is not very clear about private medical because we have the public medical service insurance, which is SUS. So that's the universal health care that we have here in Brazil. So this is an additional benefit also. So you can always count those in, which are obligatory and which are additional. So how does this vary through your profession? Have you ever had any other jobs? And do they change with these things? So you have like autonomy, or you feel valued, or commission. Where is it different from the other places that you have worked on, right? And how important to you are the non-material things? Because at the end of the day, we all need the money, of course, but the non-material benefits can always be something else, something that you can make for for a better for a better way to motivate you for your job, and that's what this unit is all about. And how do they compare to the material benefits? Like, what weights more for you? The material benefits or the non-material benefits? What's more important for you? Now, in this time of crisis, we can always think about that, right? And we can work in small groups and setting up your own company. So when you're like, we all like thought about this part, right? About how you can set up your own company. How would you motivate your workers? Because a motivated worker is a good and productive worker. So how would you motivate workers if they want to work in your company? Because being wanted to work in your company, like for example, I can name, for example, Google, which is a great company for people who work there. How do they motivate their workers? Do they have flexible hours? Do they have in-work daycares? They can have a lot of those things that can really make the difference about who works there or not. Okay? And what effects will these have for both the employee and the company? How good a company can motivate you, and how a motivated worker can bring a return through that investment to the company. How well does that work, right? And how will you make sure your employees receive some of the non-material benefits in 7? Like, when you are working with people, how sure you are that you can make people receive non-material benefits? Because material benefits are always good, right? But if you don't receive the non-material things, the praise and appreciation that you would get, it starts to be something just for the money. And just for the money, people can get really miserable when you're doing one job just for the money, even if it's just too much money, because it can be a hell of a job that pays a lot. But where's the enjoyment? Where's the appreciation? Where's the thing that makes that person to go to the office every single day? That's what we can think about, right? So here we can begin then to conceptualize about encouraging conversation. Normally, when you go into a lift or elevator, you go into a group of people that are normally, don't know each other. And if you're like in a really long elevator ride or a taxi ride or even like your job, it's good to have a little conversation, to know that you can talk to people in a way that they will be, they will talk to you in a way that you can be acknowledged and sociable at the same time. Because after all, we're all sociable animals. We humans, we need each other to do the most basic of stuff because we live in a group. We live in big cities. We live in big groups. We constitute family. That's the thing that makes us human. So, um, when you like meet someone for the first time, what normally do you talk about? Like, do you ask them about personal hobbies, or do you talk about work mostly? What topics normally motivate people to make more conversation? So these are what we call conversation starters. A starter is something that starts other things, right? So a conversation starter is a good topic that you can always rely on to make good conversation. So, how was your day? What do you like to do after work? Do you enjoy reading? What do you enjoy reading? Those questions can be really universal. Some people can like dislike reading, but most people like music, right? So what kind of music people like? What kind of TV shows do they watch? What kind of activities they enjoy doing in their free time? Normally those are good conversation starters, so you can start to strike a conversation. And now we have to read these tips about which five are most useful, which five conversation starters are the best for us to talk. And normally, when you have like um, like when you go to a big group, you can make a lot of conversation about all what they do. And in a global setting, for example, in this context that is made here, we can have like a global media company has organized its annual incentive event to reward its most successful members of staff. So you have a 1 week cruise, doesn't matter where, but like think of the Caribbean. The employees from all over the world, they have arrived on board and are right now meeting on their first evening. What do you normally do if you're like alone? You're not part of the group. You're just the top salesperson in that team who is, in the cruise, and you're the only member from Brazil or one of the only members from Brazil, and you don't know other people. What normally you do? Normally in these events, they have like conversation starters. They have like things that make people talk about. They have like group activities. They have sports. They have drinks. They have bars. All the settings they're made for a sociable environment. But sometimes it's really not that, right? So what do you can you do in those settings? And now let me read the context. Let's listen to four conversations from the first evening of the cruise. Work for with a partner and answer these questions 1 to 2, so you can do it alone here. So you can read the text and see those things. So you can read the context and the text about small talk, which is, how's the weather? What do you do? What do you like to do? Small talk. Talk that is like bite sized, that you can really talk about with any other people, like taxi drivers, like employees of your global company, or even something else completely, right? So let's choose see like let's listen to these conversations, and let's see about what the tips are used and which are not used, and is the conversation successful or unsuccessful. We always try to strike a conversation, and sometimes we miss. It's more than human to make mistakes, or even if you did everything that you could, but even though the person is not up for the talk. So let's see in which situations this is successful or unsuccessful and why. Okay? So let's listen to these.
2.2 Conversation 1.
Hello. I saw you sitting on my table at dinner, but I didn't have a chance to speak to you. I'm Harry.
Hi, I'm Alessandro.
Who did you come with? Is this your first company event?
Yes.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a great weekend. Have you seen the program?
No, not yet.
Oh, well, it looks very entertaining. I think there are some left at the information desk. Are you here with colleagues?
No.
Well, you'll soon get to know people. So, would you like another drink?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, Alessandro. You don't mind if I go and get myself a coffee? See you later.
Conversation 2.
Hi, I don't think we've met. I'm Paolo from Napoli. I work for one of the company's suppliers.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Sonia from France.
Nice to meet you.
So, I've heard that Naples is becoming very popular for foreign investors. Is that true?
Well, Sonia, it's interesting that you say that because...
Conversation 3.
Hi, I'm Sumitra, based in the UK.
Hello, I'm Krishnan. Sorry, where are you from originally?
Well, my parents live in Calcutta. I was born there, but I've moved around a lot.
You are from Calcutta? No, that's amazing. My parents are from India. In fact, they are there now visiting relatives.
What a coincidence! Where do they come from?
From Bhiwandi, near Mumbai.
Bhiwandi. Isn't it famous for its textile industry?
That's right, yes. So, have you spent much time in India recently?
So these are all
Conversation 4.
for conversation. Sorry.
Good evening, Adriana. I thought I might see you. Back for another company event?
Oh, Adam, how lovely to see you here. I heard you weren't coming.
Really? Who told you?
I can't remember. But anyway, how are things?
Oh, Adriana, where should I begin? I injured my leg in January in a skiing accident. The doctor told me to take it easy, but how could I rest with my job? Then I got flu, but we were organizing a huge trade fair at the time, so I had to keep going.
Oh dear.
Then I had problems at home with my daughter. She's 15, you know.
Oh, I'm
and
so sorry to hear that. Look, I have to go, Adam. Catch you later.
So in these conversations, you can always have like the idea that some people do not want to talk, and some people really do. Some people really like want to know about others and what others are doing. So in these situations, we have the tips that are used in the text above, and we have the conversation if it's successful or unsuccessful. Like if the person continues to talk, that's really obvious by the fade in conversation, the fade out conversation, and about how they're interested in each other, and we can see why in the parts. And we can always use, for example, the questions here. We can listen again if we need. If you need the audio, we can always ask for us. I'll provide the audios anytime for you guys. So conversation 1, it's what does Harry say to start the conversation? So what is the piece of information that he gives to start the conversation? What is his conversation starter? And what phrases does he use to end the conversation? Like spoiler alert, it is not a good conversation. The other person, I think it's Alessandro, isn't interested really. So he uses some phrases to say that, oh, I'm going to go over there if you don't mind. Like, yeah, you do not want to talk to me, so I go politely to the other way. And what does Paolo say to start the conversation? What is his conversation started? And how does Sonia respond? And what 2 phrases show that the speaker are interested in what the other is saying? Like, normally you have a audible, not only like a visual representation of what people are interested, but normally you can have that in the voice, the tone, and in phrases that they use. And on conversation 4, what phrases do Adriana and Aidan use to greet each other? What is the phrases that do they know each other from long ago, or do they not? And how does Adriana show that she is listening? How does she let that be known? And in all of those conversations, we have the tip here that is used in well and so. Well and so are two pieces of information, of two introductions to the piece of information that you can use to do what we call a segue, a real way to connect two conversations and to go from one to the other. For example, when I want to talk about your profession, for example, and I walk and I ask, "What do you do for a living?" And then you start. Oh, well, I do English classes, and I do English classes in a conversation method that we are trying to perfectionate in your choice languages. You see, this makes me more sociable, but not only sociable, that makes me indicating like that I'm changing the direction, or even that I'm using that piece of information that you gave me. What do I work with? And I'm going to use that to explain to you what I do for a living. So that is a way to segue into another conversation and to expand the conversation, make the conversation like more personal, intimate, and more enjoyable for both parties. Okay, and the so is normally like the so part can also be used to indicate that I'm changing the subject, but in a more direct way. Like I'm not doing a segue, and I'm doing a way to change the subject in a natural manner. The soul part is like a real direct response. Like if you're not do not want to talk to me, or you just give me a crucial piece of information, I use so. What do we do now? Or so I'll go grab a cup of coffee. Or so, you see, it's more abrupt. It's more like a clean cut in the information. A little less subtle than well. I think it's clear at this point, but well and so, they are kind of interchangeable. But well, it's more subtle, and so it's less subtle. So it's like so, and well, it's more well, it is like this. So well is a subtle way to change the conversation, and so it's a more abrupt way to change the conversation. Okay, so we have these key expressions in this unit about starting a conversation, showing interest, keeping a conversation going, and how to maintain or to cut conversation if you don't want to. So we have a lot of ways to show that. I probably know that you guys know how to do that in Portuguese, but in English it's kind of tricky. It's a little different, and they have like a little. They are more direct than us. Normally, we Brazilians, when we don't want to talk to other people, we do some things that are more subtle than Americans. Americans, they are more like direct. Like even like we Brazilians, we are normally people pleasers. We normally try to maintain conversation, try to maintain something going until the other person opens for us. And if that person doesn't open, that's normally considered rude. But abroad, not wanting to talk is something that people naturally do, and that can be really something that makes people just distant. They're just distant. They do not. They are not rude. They do not lack education or formal understanding of society in any way. They just don't want to talk or don't want to talk to you, and they make it very, very, very clear. So that can be a way to know if other people can be interested in your conversation or not. Like these sensibilities, the social sensibilities, they vary and then change from place to place, and it's more than natural that it changes for a lot of people. Okay, now we can do the second conversation, which is Adriana has later in this evening. So Adriana is one of those people in the conversation. She's actually from the conversation 4, and she has a second conversation later that same evening. This time, this conversation is successful. Let's number the phrases A through J in the order that you hear them first. And 1 to 10. How do these phrases help the conversation flow? So let's see. Do they start a conversation? Do they show interest? Do they keep the conversation going, or do they like cut the conversation right off? Like when someone doesn't want to talk about that subject, do they cut the conversation, or do they just let it go and say like, "Oh, I really don't want to talk about that," or something like that? That's for you guys to do. That will be your homework for today. I hope you have liked this lesson. This is going to be more of a revision for Mateus, but for Tachi, it's going to be a more direct way to experience the classes. I suggest that you pause any time that you are in doubt in this conversation, and you can always be sure to do those conversations in the orders that they appear. Okay? So any doubts, you can always come to me or to Pamela, or essentially to Philip during the hello, your choice, which is the new contact information that we gave you. And this will be mostly the end of this class. This is a class about motivating. We all need motivation now that we are isolated. And I think it can be a real thing to know our priorities. Know where do you come from, where do you pretend to go, where do you want to go, and why do you do the things that you do? Be in contact with yourself. Try to maintain your motivation up, because those are tough times. Those are weird times. Those are being called once in a lifetime experiences. You see, isolation has been a part of human history for a long time. For example, Shakespeare wrote most of his most beautiful plays during the isolation of the plague, as did Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton invented calculus because he was bored during his Harvard. Was it Harvard? I really don't remember. But Isaac Newton invented calculus during his isolation period because of the plague also. So isolation can be a way to experience things that we never did before, to grow as people and to grow as a community. So I think it should be without saying that we are doing things that we will remember for quite some times. We'll be telling our children and grandchildren these stories about the quarantine, about the isolation. So let's make the most of it. Let's think about how do we prepare for these times, how do we go through these times, and what's important, what motivates us as human beings. So I'll thank you so much for seeing this class through the end, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So bye bye.